it won't even crank. But I have a way to diagnose the problem. Hi everyone. One issue that I've recently had to deal with my Porsche Cayenne S is ground strap degradation. And what I mean by that is the ground straps are not fully grounding the engine to the chassis, allowing all of the electronics to perform as they should. They're creating shorts and error codes because there is an interruption or an increased resistance that the ground straps are supposed to eliminate. So a typical ground strap looks like this, but the Porsche ones are more like a round cable. And what was happening was corrosion and dirt on the ends of the ground straps. One is here, one is under the engine over in that corner there, was creating an increased amount of resistance, creating issues with the electronics. So what I'm going to do with this video is show you where they are and what you need to do to restore full continuity in your Porsche from respect to the ground straps. I recently, with this Porsche Cayenne S, have been having some starting problems. It won't crank. So obviously you go through all the checks, check the starter, the solenoid, do a scan to check all of the error codes, a lot of which are not related. And it kind of leads you to back to the basics, which is this engine and chassis grounded together? And if they're not grounded properly through the ground straps, you're going to get these issues of it not cranking or modules not being powered up, and it's going to affect the entire system. Bottom line, the engine will not start. So in this Cayenne, there are two main ground straps. Here I'm looking in the engine bay, and here's one of them, and it's from the engine to the tower strut, and it's right here, and then there's another one going here to the fuse. So, and then there's another one underneath the engine, which I'll show you as well. And what you need to do is you need to disconnect them and clean to see if there's any sort of corrosion, paint, or anything that's obstructing a clean grounding surface. And that could be the culprit in your vehicle. When I first checked resistance, this car was way out of range. It was something like 0.7 ohms, which is well above the 0.2 that you should be having. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start up here, and I'm going to disconnect these two grounds, sand them down with sandpaper, make them clean, and then I'm going to put dielectric grease to prevent future corrosion. Then I'm going to do the one at the bottom and show you as well. That should help, or it should be a first step in diagnosing these non-cranking issues that have fault codes, a lot of fault codes which are not related. That's your first sign that something system-wide is going on. So for this main ground strap, the nut here is a 13 millimeter, which I've already started taking off. And lift it out. Now you can see it's fairly clean because I've sanded it, but I'll demonstrate what you need to do with all of the contact surfaces, because there was some dirt and debris, and on the bottom one there's definitely was corrosion that probably will inhibit proper grounding. So let me get some sandpaper and I'll demonstrate what should be done in order to rejuvenate these ground straps. Also, inspecting the ground strap is very important too. A lot of vehicles, like the other vehicle that I work on is an X5. It has a braided, unprotected ground strap, which is turned brown and black and green, and does not ground the vehicle properly. That one I'll have to swap out with a new one in order to restore proper grounding. So once you've disconnected the ends of the ground straps, you need to get some sandpaper and start sanding the mating surfaces nice and clean, removing everything possible. You can see this one here, it's nice and clean. Down here, I've actually been sanding it. It's actually showing the copper finish underneath, so I know I'm removing anything that's going to inhibit, especially on this one here. You can see doing my best to clean all of the surfaces so that they're nice and clean and will make proper contact. The next step will be, in order to ensure that conductivity remains, is to add dielectric grease to them, and then just a thin amount, and put them, and then reinstall them to prevent corrosion from happening again. So here I have some dielectric grease. These are usually used on spark plug installations or anywhere you don't want arcing, but it also is a protector for grounding straps that you can use. And just you do is you put a small amount, coat the area just conservatively, and the same on the mating surface down here. You get some more. And I just want a thin layer as best I can get before I reinstall it. So put it down like that, and then reinstall the nut tight. And you want to do that with all of the connections for your ground straps to ensure that they're clean and doing their job. So I'll continue on with this one, and then I'll get under the vehicle in the front right corner and show you the chassis to engine ground strap there. So here underneath the engine, here's the location of the other ground strap. It's attached here to the bottom of the engine. You can see here with this corroded bolt, and then to the frame over there with that, I believe it's a 13 millimeter bolt. So what I'll need to do is I'll need to disconnect that end, this end, sand them down so they're nice and clean, and then apply dielectric grease like I did on the one above to ensure that this ground strap is doing what it's intended to do. I also have been inspecting it. There is no visible signs of corrosion or cracking. These are the heavy duty ones. The braided ones I would just replace every 5 to 10 years because they do break down, and then they do not provide adequate grounding to start the vehicle or run the electronics. Okay, so I'll get to work in removing this one so that I can sand it and apply the dielectric grease. So I removed the lower ground strap, and you can see that I've sanded all the contact points on them clean. You can see I'm going through down to the copper color on them. I've also cleaned the bolts, so there was rust in here. I've cleaned that, and then on the other one, even though this one isn't the one making the full contact, I still want a clean contacting surface. So now the next thing to do is apply the grease to here, and along the edge here of this bolt and here, and then also on the contact points on the body down below, and then put it all back together. So for both ground straps, this one up here and the one below, I've taken them off, cleaned them, greased them, and reapplied them. This one and the bottom one. So now I do my test on resistance. So I've set up my multimeter to ohms. I've hooked up the negative to the negative battery post under the driver's seat, and the positive needs to be connected somewhere metal on the engine. So I power it up, and I'm getting actually quite a low number. So 0.1 ohms, which is well within now the proper range. It should be no higher than 0.2 ohms of resistance. I have it set at 2000 ohms, so I can, because this is a very sensitive reading, but you can see now I've not only restored the ground that was required, but also it's within the tolerance and protected with the grease. So the next step now is to start testing some of the modules to see why it potentially won't crank, but I've ruled out this basic problem, which was a problem for the vehicle. Thanks very much. Thanks for watching this comprehensive DIY tutorial on maintaining or replacing the engine to chassis ground straps on a Porsche Cayenne. Having properly operating ground straps is vitally important to the reliable operation of any ICE or electric vehicle. Please subscribe to our channel, Drive Chris Capredoni, and watch our other informative videos as your source for vehicle reviews, analysis, maintenance, and restorations.